Also, I noticed last time the volume was a little bit too high, so let me adjust that. Oh shoot, not new game, not new game. We're gonna actually load state. And I think we're ready to go. Okay, let's see. Okay. I am certain I saw Mr. Hicks enter that elevator. Hold it! Mr. LeBlanc, were you able to get a good look at the inside of the elevator at that time? Of course, I saw him. What was inside? And you are sure that the victim was in the elevator alone? Yes! The only person inside was a Mr. Hicks man. This last outburst is a bit too important to let go. The only person inside was that Mr. Hicks man. I don't think so, because look at these tracks. Objection! Mr. LeBlanc. What is it? There is a very glaring contradiction in your testimony. What do you mean? Please take a look at the area in front of the elevator. There, at the spilled grape juice. Yes, and? Will admit you also spilled the blood. No, it spilled itself during the turbulence. But the interesting thing here is the set of grape juice footprints. Footprints? Yes, the ones that lead from the within the elevator out into the lounge itself. It's evidence that proves that someone other than Mr. Hicks exited the elevator alive. There must have been another person in the elevator with Mr. Hicks. Now then, I'm done playing games. Why don't you tell us the truth? Nishpong, Henpong, Watch Dongle, Haisha, Meiko. Can you please translate for us? No way, that's totally impossible, I guess is what he said. No way! That is totally impossible! I know there was no other person there. I saw it with my own eyes. If you want to know what I think, Mr. Edgeworth. I don't think Mr. LeBlanc is lying to us. I suppose she's right, he doesn't seem to be lying. But then, what does it mean, and what about this contradiction? Mr. LeBlanc, please, just once more, would you recall the details of what you witnessed for me? Testimony what I saw, part 2. I was very upset when Mr. Hicks passed by my seat. I was always checking the time over and over again. I happened to follow that man with my eyes when he passed me. And I saw clearly into the elevator he was entering. But I swear there was no one else inside. No one! Mr. LeBlanc, if you would please calm down. What? Dare you two have an issue with my eyewitness testimony? No, not at all. Please forget I said anything. Yet again, he doesn't appear to be lying. But I can't let this testimony stand as the truth. Rebuttal what I saw, part 2. I was very upset when Mr. Hicks passed by my seat. Hold it! So, are you still upset now? I'm always upset! The only time I'm not is when I have a piece of art in my hands. It's surprisingly easy to believe that about him. But I was even more upset when Mr. Hicks walks by me. I was always checking the time over and over again. Hold it! Why were you so attentive to the time? Because something unforgivable was happening. Come to think of it, you were yelling about something unforgivable earlier. I was giving a complaint to the attendant about the movie's starting time. Return back to my time, in money. return back to me my time and money. You understand the point? Movie? Is he talking about the in-flight one that's mentioned in the magazine? A summary of the plot. The summary time. Interesting. There was a poster showing License to Love, Laugh, Maim, and Murder. I cannot see that room in my country. You can only see it on international flights. I look forward greatly to that movie. I checked my pocket watch whenever possible so I would not miss it. I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I came on board, so my watch is not wrong. It matched the schedule. But the movie was still late. Very, very late. Hold it! Your pocket watch. I'd like to ask you a little more about that if that's alright. The movie I wanted to see would not start, so I checked my pocket watch many times. My watch is set to my destination's time. I always set it when I board the plane. Let's see what this little pamphlet says. Let's see what this says. Wait. All times shown correspond to our departure time zone, not the destination time zone. Objection! Mr. LeBlanc, you said this just now in your testimony. I even set my pocket watch to the destination time when I came on board. Now, if your watch has been set to our destination's time zone, it would mean that your watch is displaying the time of our destination. Yes, and the correct time is worth 6 cents. I would like you to take a look at this. If you believe the Sky magazine, clocks on this flight running in accordance with the time of our departure time zone. Of course, the movie schedule was also created with that in mind. Miss Tenero, for confirmation's sake, what time zone is this flight aligned to right now? Well, we made a short stop at a transfer point. That's right, it was in that small Asian country, the Republic of Zhengfa. But we didn't readjust onboard our onboard clocks at that time, so right now we are still running on Borginian time. What? The time difference between Borginia and our destination is 9 hours. In that case, it's only natural that your watch would be out of sync with the schedule. Further, with your analog watch set to our destination's time, it would appear to be running 3 hours faster when compared to the flight's onboard clocks. It also changes everything about your testimony. And you can bet 1,000,000 cents on that. In light of this information, it means you saw Mr. Hicks 3 hours prior at 3 a.m. 1,000,000 cents! This should clear up all of the remaining accusations. So this basically widens the time frame for the time of death, right? Okay, sorry, back. Yes, because Mr. LeBlanc saw the victim enter the elevator at 3 a.m. It means that the time of death could be anywhere from 3 to 6:15 a.m. The question now is, where was Mr. Hicks during that span of time, and what was he doing? I've got something to say. And you are? Yeah, oh, I'm Cammy Meal. I'm Cammy Melee. I guess in this case it would be Cammy Meal. That's Cammy Melee. I'm Cammy Melee. I'm a flight attendant. And what is it you wish to say? I think your story is a little different from how I remember it. What do you mean, Cammy? I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. What? How can you be so sure of the time? Oh, that's right, he pushed his call button while we were parked out at the transfer point. Ah, the stop we made for refueling and cargo transfer in Zhengfa, correct? Yes, it was from 4 to 5 AM according to our clocks. And during that time, did any of the passengers leave, or did any new ones board this flight? No. No. Not a single person got off or on it in Zhengfa. What about the flight crew? The few who were handling the cargo transfer might have temporarily gotten on or off, but eventually everyone, including Cammy and myself, came back on the plane. So basically I can assume that no one left or got on since our initial takeoff. Interesting, I should keep that in mind. Refueling in Zhengfa data jotted down by organizer. Yeah, and I answered his call. I can tell you Mr. Ackleby Hicks was there in his seat when we took off again at 5 AM. Miss Melee's testimony jotted down on my organizer. Alright, then that puts the time of the murder between 5 and 6:15 AM. Okay, now what time did you come down to the lounge, Mr. Edgeworth? I remember coming down here almost as soon as we left the Republic of Zhengfa.
You were here the whole time from 5, yes? Then you are the only one who could be the killer.
Mr. Edgeworth, were you really here in this lounge the entire time from 5 AM onwards?
Unfortunately, yes.
But then how do we explain the footprints?
It's not that obvious. This man went first to Hex here in this lounge, waited to kill him. And then he put the corpse into the elevator. That is when the turbulence happened. My eyewitness testimony may have been mistaken. But what time I saw Mr. Hicks enter in the elevator on the second floor does not matter. Because the entire incident concluded here in this lounge.
Everything happened in this lounge? Is that what you really believe, Mr. LeBlanc?
Do you have another idea?
I simply feel that there is something out of place in the scenario you presented. Is there something that can tie this crime to a location other than this lounge? Well, perhaps. What about, for instance... For instance, what about this missing cell phone? We don't know where that is gone. Take that!
I don't need to hear your wildest bursts and stories. Grasping for weed is how you say it, yes?
I didn't mean to pull that one out, or that piece out. It was a simple slip of the hand, I assure you. Well, I guess we were wrong there. I mean, that was a simple miscalculation. Let's just read this. Slip the tongue. Is there something that can tie this crime to a location other than this lounge? No, I don't think the passport. Oh, the in-flight perhaps was Take that! The murder weapon, this little piggy bank, is sold at the in-flight shop. It is sold there and only there, and is not displayed here in this lounge. How then did it find its way here? Don't you find that a tiny bit suspicious?
Such a trivial point. It only means you prepared it, take it from the shop first before coming here. It doesn't prove you're innocent at all.
Is there no way to win this with this man? Hold it, if I may.
What is it?
You see... Well, it's just as Mr. Edgeworth says.
Oh? And why do you know this so well?
Well, it's just that... that piggy bank was there in the shop. I saw it with my own eyes. And when was this? It was maybe around 5:40 AM.
Isn't that just before we hit that patch of turbulence?
That's right.
You were in the shop just before the turbulence?
Yes, I was. Come to think of it. Miss Tenero, when I found the body... I believe you came out of that door. Yes, I did. And what is beyond that door? That's the flight attendant's room.
Then... You're the first floor?
Yes. I had to do something at the shop and in the in-flight attendant's room. So I went to the shop first and then to the flight attendant's room. Are you saying you passed by me at some point? Yes, you seemed really into the issue of Sky magazine you were reading at the time. I don't suppose you noticed me walking by.
I vaguely recall someone walking by, but I didn't take notice of who it was.
Anyway, the piggy bank was definitely here at the shop when I went there.
Why did you go to this shop in the first place?
I went there for a work-related matter.
Work, you say?
Yes, the upkeep of the shop is also one of my responsibilities.
Why did you not say something about that until now is what I want to know.
In any case, I believe it's clear that this shop needs to be investigated as well. Shall we head over there then? Hold it.
What was it now? What is it now?
Aren't you forgetting something, Miss Rhoda? Don't you need the captain's permission to check the shop? No, I haven't forgotten. But I have already asked him for permission to search the entire plane, so I think we're all right. Huh? That's weird.
What is?
Well, I just talked to the captain, see? And he said that he didn't give you permission to do anything like that at all.
What is the meaning of this, Miss Tenero?
It means she's lying. Go on, admit that you are. You said you had permission to search all over, but you don't. And yeah, here you are.
You! Flight attendant! What are you trying to do? Pull the escape over us?
The captain's calling for you, Miss Rhoda. Oh, but don't worry. I already got permission to search the shop from the captain. See, unlike you, I do things the right way.
Miss Tenero, why would you do such a thing?
Please excuse me. Looks like I get to be in charge now. Please go back to your seat, Mr. LeBlanc. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you would follow me, I will be your guide from now on.
There's something about Miss Tenero that has piqued my curiosity. But right now, investigating the in-flight shop is my top priority. March 12th, 8:32 a.m., flight I-390, first floor, in-flight shop. So this is the in-flight shop. It's quite a mess in here.
You think? Guess I'll have to clean things up then, tee-hee.
Hold on! You can't clean up a potential crime scene!
Oh, thank goodness, I hate cleaning so much.
I mustn't rush things here. I must remain cool, calm, and collected. Because this piggy bank was left at the crime scene. Murder weapon, Mr. iFly. The blood on it is still fresh. Could this be the murder weapon? There's a very good chance that the killer had paid this place a visit. Begin investigation at in-flight shop. What are these?
Oh, those are our company's completely original line of suitcases. They're practically flying out the door. That's how popular they are. You should buy one and see how you like it. You won't regret it. Perhaps that's how things work on this flight, but in the real world you try, then buy. Man, I cannot speak today. No way, but either way, it doesn't really matter. True, either way, why would anyone buy a suitcase after they've boarded the plane? Anyway, see that? Just look at all the Mr. iFly has painted on their cute company mascot, isn't he? They're painted on with a lot of care. Doesn't he look like he's just about to... Doesn't he look like he's about to jump out at you? It is certainly making something jump inside my stomach. Huh? Oh, I guess there's no fooling your refined tastes. You looked like you really wanted to get one. And I thought I was going to finally make my first sale, but you saw right through it. Glad that's done through, though. Never make me try to give you a sales pitch ever again, okay? But I never showed any interest in it to begin with. Teehee, it really is pretty horrible, isn't it? You want to know something? This suitcase was designed by Miss Rhoda. Miss Tenero designed this? Yeah, it was a company-wide contest. Well, it does have a very sharp design sense. Sharp? Like stinky sharp cheddar, maybe. I really have no idea why the bigwigs decided to go with it. It's so... Oh, hello, Portland again. Welcome back. Oh, and hello, Bloodluster. Is that Bloodluster? Miss Tenero designed this? Miss Tenero designed this, did she? It's definitely not what I would have expected. You okay? I'm fine. Please watch yourself, Miss Melee. Letting a suitcase freely roll around has got to be a safety violation. Suitcase. Planes shaking causes it to roll. In-flight suitcase displays can be hazardous. Yeah, of course. Here, I'll put it back. Suitcase is designed by Miss Tenero. That's one sharp design. There are all kinds of luxury name brand merchandise for sale in this display case, and they're lined up in just such a manner as to scream, "Buy me" to any passers-by. There's a wide selection of souvenirs for sale in these display cases. You know what I'd suggest? Sorry, but I have no intention of buying souvenirs on this trip. Okay, then how about you buy something for me, then, as a present? I can't think of a single reason why I'd want to buy you anything. But I've had my eye on that pendant for such a long time. Try paying some attention to me when I ask you something, and then we'll talk. Such a lady killer, Edgeworth. The glass from this display case's door is shattered all over the floor, and it looks like there's nothing on display inside either. Wait, actually, I think there is something. What's this? A mini captain's hat? Tiny captain's hat. It's a tiny captain's hat? I swear I've seen one of these before. Wait, doesn't the captain's hat go on the Mr. iFly piggy bank? The hat probably used to be on the piggy bank's head. Let's give it a go and see. I believe this piggy bank was forcibly removed from this display case. Does this mean that the killer broke the glass to get at it? Mr. iFly piggy bank data updated my organizer. Really? Don't tell me you don't know what things go where... Don't tell me you don't know what things go where in this shop. Well, I don't. Miss Rhoda's in charge of this place. So, come on, how should I know anything? I sense that further inspection of this display case is needed. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. The glass in this door is broken. Perhaps it was the killer who broke it in order to take the piggy bank. But it's a bit odd that the inside of the case is so devoid of glass shards. Plus, the glass broke rather cleanly. What is it? I touched the glass and I cut my finger. It hurts, Mr. Edgeworth, it hurts. Please tell me you can deal with such a minor cut on your own. Wait. If the glass is on the outside and not the inside, perhaps that means that it wasn't broken from the outside, but rather the inside. Perhaps. Perhaps the unstable nature of this plane caused something from the inside to fall outside. For instance, is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Perhaps... Eureka! There is definitely something very unusual about this. About what? If the killer had broken the glass to get at the Mr. iFly bank, there should be shards of glass inside the case itself. Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess it'd be like that. However, there's not a single piece of glass inside the display case. Nope. No, there isn't. Which means the glass was broken from the inside out. The piggy bank must have fallen over from the turbulence and right through the glass. Yeah, that's for sure. There's so much glass all over the floor. They really need to secure this plane if this happens every time. I'm willing to bet that this hat was knocked off its head at that time too. That's nice. Which leads me to believe that the killer took the Mr. iFly from here after the turbulence. The plane shook so much during it that it made a huge mess of the shop. Mr. iFly piggy bank data updated in my organizer. Take your power naps on your own time, Miss Melee, and listen when I'm talking. But the murder occurred before the turbulence, which rules this piggy bank out as the murder weapon. So you mean the bank's not the real murder weapon? It's a fake? Yes, at this point that is a very real possibility. But what if when the killer went to take Mr. iFly, they broke the glass by accident? The display case is locked, so that's highly unlikely. Yeah, but there's one person who could have... Oh, and who would that be? Miss Rhoda, of course. I mean, she's the one in charge of this place, so she has the keys to everything. Miss Rhoda Tenero, Something's not right here. I don't quite like it. Suitcase is designed by Miss Tenero. That's one sharp design. It's the turbulence that causes everything to roll and shake. Yes, there's definitely something wrong here. What's with this sudden yelling? Tell me, Miss Melee, don't you think there's something strange about these suitcases? Oh, well, sure. They totally ooze strange, like the color and such. That's not what I'm talking about! Now pay attention! You're scaring me, Mr. Edgeworth. Sorry. These suitcases are lined up a bit too prim and proper. Yeah, they look a bit uptight, don't they? But I guess they take after their creator. Again, that's not what I meant, Miss Melee. Don't you find it unusual that these cases are the only things undisturbed by the turbulence? Never mind, I'd sooner find an answer by inspecting these suitcases myself. Upon closer inspection, they really are quite hideous. Tee-hee. I wonder how Miss Rhoda would have reacted if she'd heard what you just said. What's wrong? She makes a good point. It would be wise for me to watch what I say out loud. What's this? I've spotted something that's not quite right. What is so unusual about this suitcase? Well, the stoppers are gone. Take that! There's something very peculiar about these wheels. Huh? As in... There are no stoppers in place on these. Without stoppers, one would think that the turbulence would have sent it flying. And so it is very likely that the suitcase was placed here after we hit that turbulence. Let's take a closer look at it, shall we? Let's take a closer look at it, shall we? Wait, what the Wait. What's this? The wheel is completely covered in something. This color and this scent. It appears the substance in question is grape juice. But why would there be juice in the wheel of a suitcase? It would appear to be unlocked. Let's take a look at what's inside. A piece of cloth. And it's soaked with blood. Ah, it's blood. It appears that this suitcase is very strongly tied to our murder after all. Investigation complete. So explain this to me. What does the suitcase have to do with the murder? I believe it's pretty safe to say that the killer used this suitcase in some manner. Such as to move something, perhaps? But aren't you just talking about the cloth, then? That alone is too small. A larger item would be needed to move what I'm thinking of. The thing I believe the killer used the suitcase to transport is the body, perhaps. Take that! Something that would fit inside a suitcase that is also covered in blood. Sounds like a dead body, doesn't it? I fly suitcase data jotted on my organizer. Bloody cloth data jotted on my organizer. But... in light of this, I'd say that Mr. Hicks was moved into the elevator from someplace else. Which means that the murder was committed in an entirely different location. So you're saying that after moving the body into the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase in here and just left it? Exactly. What is it? Nothing. Just that I was thinking about what Miss Rhoda said about coming here for something. Excuse me, Mr. Edgeworth. I wanted to give you a bit more time, but I'm afraid I wasn't able to convince the captain. I'm very sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. The captain feels that he has allowed you ample time. He says that he'd appreciate if you could wrap it up here and return to your seat. I understand his sentiments, however, if I'm not allowed to complete my investigation, the crime scene may become contaminated by the time we land. If I must stop, then I insist I be allowed to oversee the preservation of the two sites. Under your supervision, of course. If that's your only condition, then I believe we can accommodate your wishes. I'm here to assist you in any way that I can, Mr. Edgeworth. Sounds like fun. We can camp out and watch over everything together. I found proof that the real crime scene was not in the lounge, and I've enough evidence to prove myself to be innocent of any wrongdoing. And yet, regarding what Miss Melee reminded me about Mr. Nero, I can't allow my investigation to end here. The truth must come to light. To be continued. Okay, one sec, I'll be back and get some water. Okay, I'm back. I hope you're enjoying the show, Portland, or the game. Save? Yes, let's save. March 12th, 1 p.m. local time, Hope Springs Airport. I know that once we had landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over. And thanks to Mr. Nero and Miss Melee, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Mr. Nero in private. So I'm left wondering just what was she up to? Why did she do what she did? You still there, Portland? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. I've been expecting you, Miles, Edgeworth. Oh, sorry. Franziska, I thought you were still in Germany. I go where I am needed. And wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma. The daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you heading up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you are. Don't you try to flatter me. Miles, at first, I'm placing you under arrest. What? It's quite frustrating, actually. I had hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue. But I'll have to take the licking it. I never thought I'd see the day. When a disciple of the House of Von Karma would become a criminal. Have you no shame? Wait! It has all been a big misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim. A misunderstanding? I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain himself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death. Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man? I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I have investigated for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then. That's as it should be. Ha! I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you of all people. Yeah, she appears in these games. It's awesome. It makes sense why she does, because she's more in Edgeworth's story. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for. Well, I have my own creed which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together? I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Don't you dare leave town. Trust me, I had no intention to. Detective Gumshoe! Yes, sir. Too slow. Ow! Listen up, I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up. Understand? Mr. Edgeworth, I'm supposed to guard him? A simple yes or no, detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. You just leave it to me. Miles, at first. If you interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now, son, if you'll excuse me. Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Boy, am I glad to see you that you're okay. She's one of my favorite characters, honestly. I'm glad she's in these games. Thank you, detective. I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this. I have to admit I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska's up to. Maybe I should ask the good detective. Very well, in that case I have a few questions for you. Initial investigation. So how's the initial investigation going? We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office. And we're taking statements now, sir. That sounds like Franziska. She was always good at quick responses to a case. I'd say she was a little too quick, sir. Oh, how so? I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow when I got here, Miss Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something, and had come in advance to await your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. There must be some backstory to all of this. Franziska von Karma. Miss Von Karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads related to a certain incident. No details? It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to Detective. Although, I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine. Anyway, that's about all the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it is high time we resume my investigation. Starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. March 12th, 1:37 p.m., Flight I-390, second floor, first class. So you must be the captain.
Why, yes, I am, and who might you be?
I am the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Don't you dare, Captain. Getting friendly with another woman? I'll never forgive you if you do. What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy. I wouldn't bet money on our dear captain to be much of a reputable person. Sure you don't want to ask the captain some questions, sir? He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. Anyway, I'd like to leave that type of witness to Francis Cunder Whip. Ah! March 12th, 1:40 p.m. Flight I-390, first floor lounge.
Now stay here!
Ah! Sorry, I'm sorry.
How long do you intend to hold me? It is impossible for me to be the criminal, I told you!
Mr. LeBlanc.
Oh, it is you. Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend.
Sir, you can't go in there. I'm Miles Edgeworth. I'm one of the prosecutors on this case, so please let me through. I'm very sorry, sir. No one is allowed to enter without Miss Von Karma's express permission. But I'm on the case. Yes, I understand that, but I also have explicit instructions not to let you through from Miss Von Karma. God, why would you do this to me, Franziska? Did you finish taking his statement yet? Yep, all done, sir.
I'm not concerned if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back.
LeBlanc's cargo.
If I get single scot to my art, you will pay.
Art? What sort of art? Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small.
From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of arts.
Folk costumes? Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. It kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Like this one with the blood on it. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me?
Oh, it's a Burgundian cloth.
As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose.
Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous, orders come from over the seas for more.
Bloody cloth data updated my organizer. Then this is the cargo you were talking about earlier?
No. My cargo this time is much many gigantic. You, detective! When can I have my cargo moved?
You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal.
Stubbornness, if you please. It is no good. It is no good that attendant refused to exit the attendance room too.
That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Mr. Nero. Mr. Nero. What did you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc?
She was taken to the attendance room for her interview. And they've still not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her.
Why is Mr. Nero's interview the only one that's taking up so much time? Miles at first. You were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you? Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Mr. Nero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendant's room. Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances. I understand. You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Argument, Franziska's logic. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here in the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect. The likeliest suspect, Franziska? Do you have a problem with that? No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. Usually a bit more absolute. I'm simply trying to vouch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend? Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break a line of logic fast. Rebuttal Franziska's logic. Rebuttal Franziska's logic. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. Hold it! Don't you think you're being a bit rash by simply declaring me the culprit? I like my affairs to be simple and perfect. I'll show you the meaning of both when I finish this whole thing within 3 minutes. Hey, you say that like you're cooking a pack of instant noodles. I won't allow even 3 seconds of useless testimony to be uttered in my presence. I see she hasn't changed a bit, but I won't allow her to send me to prison so easily. The scene of the crime was here in the very lounge the body was discovered. Hold it! So tell me, Franziska, do you know all there is to know about the crime scene? I know all that I need to know in order to arrest you. And nothing more. Are you saying there's more I need to know? Why did you whip me, sir? Sorry, Scruffy, my hand must have slipped. It would appear that Franziska doesn't have all the facts of this case yet. From the time the victim was seen culling for an attendant until his body was found. Wait, I think we can catch her up on this. Because of the fact that this suitcase was used to transport the body. Objection! It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all. And what does that mean? I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves that the body was moved from a different location. The killer used the suitcase to move the victim's body. Meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all. Objection! Now who's the one lastly to make the conclusions? Excuse me. All you did was find this piece of glass inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the glass. I expected you would come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily. You should know better than that. Ivan Karma is perfect in every way. Ah, but did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point? Objection! As if there's proof of that! Where's the proof that the suitcase was moved around? Take that! They spilled grape juice in front of the elevator. Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where's the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here? Take that! Take that! This mark here, wouldn't you say it looks suspiciously like tracks from two wheels? I suppose. Further, there is also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here. I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else. I'm glad you've come to your senses. Objection! Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear, not by a long shot. Argument, Francisco Logic, Part 2. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit the turbulence. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge, where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that path of turbulence and outflew the body from within the suitcase. With nowhere to hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from, and pretended to be the discoverer of the body. Not a bad bit of logic, for something you thought of on the fly. Get it, fly, because there's a plane? Nobody? Okay. Just what are you insinuating? Oh, I just noticed this little detail. Look in the window, there's like a building, like for the airport. So instead of like floating clouds, that's a nice little detail change. That I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong of a face you put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in her logic in one fell swoop. Rebuttal, Francis Logic Part 2. Well, it's right here, of course. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hits that path of turbulence. No, I don't think so. Objection! Objection! The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic. Essential tools that those who stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Mr. I-Fly piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the real murder weapon. What? The time when the bank was taken from the shop is important. And it was taken after the turbulence had occurred. But then, what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did three things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick the piggy bank up off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Ackby Hicks. You, sir!
Yes, ma'am!
Since this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found?
We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence. And the remaining items all tested negative for any trace of blood.
I see. Well, my Edgeworth, it appears your style tactics are at an end.
But it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir.
If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody glass.
Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence.
Which means the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene. Objection! There's one more possibility. And that would be that the piggy bank is in fact the real murder weapon. But didn't we just... Hold it! Let me finish. The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence, by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane in the door was broken. I'd say it's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see, so that means that the killer had the key to the display case. Franziska, the person you're talking about. Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. Another sin. She tricked the captain. Granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wish to speak with her. Yes. Very well, permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other? I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me if you so wish. Miss Tennier is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move. March 12th, 2:23 p.m. Flight IH 390, first floor, flight attendant's room. So you're the one that poked around inside this plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's menu is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that? Mr. Nero. Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too? Can you please help us and shed some light on why you did what you did? Alright. Captain's permission. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that? Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission. What do you mean? The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Melee. Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends. In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges. Really? Really? You're able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Tennier, is it? There is one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well, Why the sudden hesitation? Franziska seems to have struck a nerve. In-flight shop. All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work then? Yes, I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell. Mr. Nero claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. But is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. If you could please take a look at this for me, Mr. Nero. Oh, that suitcase. Yes, about this suitcase, you are the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured something else out about it. The suitcase is the reason you went to this shop, isn't it? There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there? Won't you please tell me more about the suitcase? Yes, I was interested in seeing how these suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional I'm not supposed to care. But I really wanted to know, and I was glad to see that it was the last one there. The last one there? Wait a minute. The last suitcase. So you're saying, Mr. Nero, that the suitcase in question was the last one? Yes, they're just so popular, they're practically flying off the shelves. That's not exactly the impression I got. The one in the shop is most definitely the last one. Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase. Really? Then I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one.
I didn't say anything about buying it.
Then say you'll buy it. I'm sorry, I can't. But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional.
Well,
That is... How should I put this? It's hideous. What? Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on, my issue with these suitcases isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining. Remaining? There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it. 2? But that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like our story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left. Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Mr. Nero, what is one of those suitcases doing here? That's... I thought you said there was only 1 left. That one is, It's mine. I've used it for a very long time now. She's used it for a long time? I think not. Mr. Nero, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. I'm back. Mr. Nero, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. Excuse me? I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. What proves that this hasn't been used for nearly as long as Mr. Nero says? Well, I mean, the price tag is still on it. Take that! Tell me, Mr. Nero, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase? Ah, that is the meaning of this. Why would you lie about a suitcase? Despite having faith in her design sense, these sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Mr. Nero, I think I understand. I know what you are trying to hide. Now, the suitcase was originally in the in-flight shop. Seeing as how the price tag is still on the suitcase, one can only assume it was out on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought the suitcase was... Take that! It was you, wasn't it, Mr. Nero? I hate to say this, but the suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured into your heart into was selling, and were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right? Then, the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I'd finally accomplished something. But the suitcases didn't sell. It's because the design isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous. I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them either. We weren't selling a single one and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there every day in and day out. So I decided to buy one for every flight I worked. You buy one every single time you work a flight? I see, so in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well. Yes, and here's my receipt for that purchase. This receipt is clearly time-stamped 5:40 AM. Suitcase receipt data jotted down by organizer. The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight. Mr. Nero, where are these other suitcases? They should all be down the cargo hold. Then the suitcase the killer used could very well have come from the cargo hold. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that the killer used one of my suitcases to... Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body. How could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be. Mr. Nero, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator? The only other way is just through that door there. And what about security? That door has no special lock installed because... just to enter this room, you need a special keycard that only crew members have access to. Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects. I can't believe it. Hold it! Yes, Franziska? Going on these wild goose chases, you're disgrace to the Frankamen name. And what do you mean by that? This suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their keycard. Miles Edgeworth! You're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes, that's the only realistic possibility. That other attendant, Miss Melee. I asked her earlier and she had this to say. Franziska got information out of Miss Melee? In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different keycard is required.
A different one?
Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rodert Nero, and only you.
What? Is this true, Mr. Nero?
Yes, I keep that keycard in my locker at all times.
Could you please show us that card right now?
Yes, hold on. I don't believe it.
What's wrong?
The keycard, it's gone. Ha ha ha. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You've really thought this through. Wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Edgeworth. What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face.
Franziska, I know that you are the lead investigator on this case, however...
Hold it! Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo holds now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth?
I intend to do likewise. To be continued. Save? Yes, let's save. March 12th, 2:52 p.m. Flight I-390, lower deck cargo hold. Wow, so this is the cargo hold, huh? It's so big! This plane is a special model. It has both a super large cargo hold and ultra luxurious first class seating.
So this is the scene of the murder?
There is certainly a high probability of that, which is why we are here, correct? Okay, let's get investigating, sir. Begin investigation. Lower deck cargo hold. Holy suitcases, Mr. Edgeworth. It's like an all-you-can-use suitcase fare. These must be all the leftover ones they couldn't sell. The ones the company is planning to dispose of after this flight is over. This paint job is really cool, don't you think? It practically screams artsy. Oh, why not purchase one then? I'm sure it will bring you much happiness. You think so? Then maybe I will. Let's see. $1,200? I think I'll pass. And Mr. Nero wonders why they don't sell. You'd need 2 jobs just to buy one. It definitely looks like one is missing. What is this brittle substance I'm stepping on? It's a bunch of glass fragments. Glass shards. What are these glass shards from? Wait a minute. Perhaps could these glass shards be from the victim's broken glasses? Ultimately proving the crime scene? I think we can safely conclude that these fragments are from a pair of glasses. And the victim was wearing a pair of broken glasses. Exactly what I was thinking. I am sure that these shards would match up perfectly with the remnants of his glass lenses. Ergo, the victim was here, just as I suspected. So you're saying that the real scene of the crime was here, sir? Isn't that what I've been saying for a while now? Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Perhaps it's a bit early to draw that conclusion. However, I believe that the probability has just skyrocketed considerably. All that's left is to find the murder weapon.
track of this many pieces of cargo must be very taxing on the cargo crew. This sure brings back memories of when I worked as a part-time mover, sir. Oh, these are Chinese characters up on the left here. It's like Chuma Wei, I think maybe. By the look in his eyes, he's waiting for me to ask about the rest of this story. But no matter how he pours on the puppy eyes, I have no intention of doing so. I didn't know that this plane was capable of carrying such large pieces of cargo. This thing's as tall as two of you on top of each other, sir. It would probably take 20 of you to cover the entire surface of this monstrosity. What, really? Yeah, I guess that sounds about right. There's really no need to take that throwaway estimate seriously, Detective. Maybe that's the one. Hey, what's with the suitcase, pal? It's what the victim checked in, sir. So this suitcase belonged to Mr. Hicks. I don't think he'd mind if we took a closer look. There's nothing out of the ordinary in here, sir. Wait, a file? And there's a photo of Miss Von Carmen, sir. It looks like a profile on Franziska. Profile on Franziska. Why did Mr. Hicks have documents on Franziska in his possession? Why would Mr. Hicks have had a file on her? Let's talk to her ourselves, shall we? You arrived at the scene of the crime before Detective Gumshoe, correct? And you then immediately began to direct the investigation. It seems to me that you're already here at this airport for something besides this murder. Yes, I've has. I will be right back. Sorry, I was gone for so long. Why at this airport? I've been following a very large and involved governmental level international crime, but it's much too large for one person to take on alone. So it was decided that I should form a joint investigation with Interpol. Interpol. Franziska came to the airport as an Interpol liaison. Interpol is involved? It's a top secret operation, so I really can't tell you any more than I already have. Wait, we still have more to talk about. There's something much more urgent we should be dealing with right now. Don't waste my time or yours. We can't present profiles. Okay, let's see. That's the victim. It's infuriating to see him crumpled on the floor like that, lifeless. I will catch the one who did this to him myself, I swear it. Franziska's really worked up over the victim. Well, I guess we have nothing further to discuss then. So, if we're to... let's think about this for a second. If the victim, Mr. Ackby Hicks, had a profile on Franziska von Karma, and she happens to be a liaison and actually working with Interpol as an Interpol agent, we assume that they were in contact with each other, and that is the reason why she was so keen on... that's why she was so immediate to her response to the crime. Now, why would Mr. Hicks have documents profiling Franziska? Oh, I know, I bet he's a big fan of Miss Von Karma, sir. Franziska said that she had come to this airport as part of an Interpol investigation. Oh, maybe Mr. Hicks had heard she was coming here and he followed her. Detective, I think it's more likely that Mr. Hicks was in actuality Interpol agent Hicks. I think Franziska has some explaining to do. Yes. Actually, that is the logical conclusion to come to, that Mr. Hicks was an Interpol agent himself. Truth behind Hicks. You came to this airport to rendezvous with the victim, didn't you? Nonsense! What are you talking about? We found a profile detailing information about you and the victim's luggage. I suppose it was prepared for him so that he could recognize you when he landed. Which makes him not Mr. Hicks, but rather Interpol agent Hicks, isn't that correct? I should have known you'd figure it out, Myers. But it looks like they got to him first. So you really did come here to receive an Interpol agent, then? Yes. Agent Hicks was on the trail of a very large international smuggling ring. Agent Hicks was on the trail of an international smuggling ring. He went undercover to investigate this crime, and it was I who put him on this case. I was supposed to receive a call from him on his cell phone once he had landed. I never expected to receive a call about his murder instead. I think we now have pretty decisive evidence, or definitive evidence, that Agent Hicks came down here to the cargo hold. But what was he doing down here? Sir? There's nothing but luggage. Oh, I get it. Maybe he forgot something in his suitcase and came down to get it. Ow! You guys still enjoying the episode? Agent Hicks came here for a work-related reason. Of that, I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure he was here to investigate the smuggling operation he was observing. Franziska, do you know exactly how he intended to pursue his investigation? No, unfortunately I was going to find out from him after he landed. I see. But this raises another question. A normal passenger can't access the cargo hold on their own. Agent Hicks must have identified himself to a member of the crew and entered the cargo hold of that person who let him in. Yes, and then he was murdered here. These glass fragments and his broken glasses are a testament to that. And then... The killer put Agent Hicks into one of the spare suitcases and... Oh yeah, sorry, I'm kind of spoiling. Yeah, I'm actually kind of spoiling it, actually. They entered the elevator, but while they were riding it up, the plane hit that patch of turbulence. So you're sure you're okay with watching it? Because of the intense shaking, the suitcase popped open and Agent Hicks's body flew out. I mean, I'd love to still have you here. I'm just concerned that you're gonna ruin it, or I'm gonna ruin it for you. At the same time, his wallet fell out of his pocket, spilling its contents everywhere. Which explains why there was money scattered all over the elevator floor. Investigation complete. Yeah, it's probably not too expensive. It's probably like 15-20 bucks. I think it's pretty easy to say who the culprit is at this stage. What, really, sir? I know what you're thinking, Miles, at first. But the killer can be none other than Miss Rhoda Tenero. Argument, definitive evidence. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks who the cargo hold. But the point to keep in mind is the keycards that allows the elevator to come down here. The only person with such high-level access is Miss Rhoda Tenero. I'd say that's a pretty decisive piece of information, wouldn't you? I know what she's trying to say, but I'm not certain it's as simple as that. Rebuttal definitive evidence. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks to the cargo hold. Hold it! That might be true, but then it could be anyone, including Miss Muir or even the captain. Don't be a fool. A plane without a pilot in the cockpit is like... a horse without a rider, a crab in hand. Much like Scruffy over there. I can't disagree with her on that. Detective Gumshoe does always need a guiding hand. Very well then. Very well. Then what about the other flight attendant, Miss Mealy? Miss Mealy. Yeah, true. True. It's very long. Ha! I thought you might ask about her. But the point to keep in mind is the keycard that allows the elevator to come down here. Hold it! But it's highly likely that the keycard was stolen from Miss Tenero. Objection! It's highly likely. Is that possibility the best you can come up with? And you call yourself a disciple of my father. Yes, well, while I don't have any evidence, Be quiet! You're a disgrace. There's more evidence pointing to Miss Rhoda Tenero, you know. It's not just the keycard that gives her away. Are you talking about the murder weapon, the Mr. I-Fly piggy bank? Yes! She is also the only person with a key to open that display case. Further, there's the matter of the key to the display case that has the murderous bank. Hold it! But that is a fake. Objection! Stop right there, Miles Edgeworth. You don't have any proofs. This is just a red herring. If you must keep on insisting that it's a fake, then what is the real murder weapon and where did it go? Yeah, no, long cases are good, that's what I mean. Yeah, no, the second game is crazy. Sorry. Speechless, I see. That's not a surprise. After all, you know that we've searched the entire cargo hold and come up empty-handed. There must be a way. There must be something that can help me rule out the piggy bank as the murder weapon. What should be examined further to help us ascertain the authenticity of the weapon? Well, actually, I think the body. Franziska, I think you were too quick to jump on to your conclusions. Oh, was I? Yes, we don't even have the autopsy results yet. How can I not say that you made a snap judgment when you have yet to even see if the wound on Agent Hicks's head is consistent with the murder weapon? Scruffy! Yes, sir. Contact the medical examiner's office at once. I wish to hear the results of Agent Hicks's autopsy. Yes, sir. We've got a big problem, Edgeworth, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. What is it, Detective? They're still doing the autopsy, but they said that they already know this one thing for sure. Report. Now. The doc said that it's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back. From the victim's shoulder to his mid-back? He was beaten over such a wide area? Well, I'd say maybe it's a sign the killer had a grudge against Agent Hicks. It wasn't just his head, the killer went all out and hit it multiple times, sir. Autopsy report data jotted down in my organizer. Scruffy, what is had a grudge against Agent Hicks supposed to mean? Well, that's, Was the wound on the victim's head consistent with the murder weapon, Detective? Oh, well, they said they were still looking into that, sir. You're completely useless. Sir, I told you already, you can't go down there.
No! You remove yourself from my way!
What is all that racket?
My luggage! My cargo! They're mine! I demand you return them to me!
We're still investigating the cargo hold. Please understand and have a little patience.
I suppose there's no choice.
Finally, I think it gave... Hey, what are you...
You have left me no choice but to use strong force!
You won't get past me! This is... Wait, that's it! So that's what this whole thing has been about. Further, there's a matter of the key to the display case that held the murderer's bank. Mr. I-Fly Piggy Bank. Is there some way for me to prove that this isn't the real murder weapon? After all, you know that we searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. Weapon couldn't be found. Nobody could find anything that could be considered the real weapon in the hold. The dog said that it's one giant burst from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back. Cause of death, extensive bruising from back of head down to mid-back, as if severely beaten. Well, I think we're finally coming to the conclusion. Oh! What? Not exactly a shining example of the perfect line of logic. Maybe we were attaching the pieces wrong. Let's think about this again. Then perhaps it's we combine these two pieces. No. I think we're on the wrong track. Not exactly a shining example of the perfect line of logic. Well, let's see. Is there some way to read this? I guess then we have to... Interesting that we were combining those two pieces, but... Allegedly, the killer struck the victim many times over, which is why there is extensive bruising over such a wide area. But is that really the correct conclusion to draw from the evidence? The bruise from his shoulder to the middle of his back is one continuous mark. Oh, that's why. That makes sense. Which is more suggestive of a single blow to the back. If that's the case, the piggy bank is much too small to have caused that. Therefore, the murder weapon must be something far bigger. A sizable weapon. The unusually large area of bruising suggests that a very large weapon was used. We've got it now. We just had to do a little legwork to get there. If we're looking for a rather large weapon, you'd think it would stick out. But so far we haven't found anything that resembles a weapon of any sort. Perhaps, just perhaps it's something we all overlooked from the very beginning. Because normally it's too impossibly big to be taken into consideration. What was that all about? Was he trying to jump his way down here? Franziska! What you want? I found it, Franziska. I found the real murder weapon. You did? He really jumped. We didn't realize it until now, but the answer's been right in front of us this whole time. He might be hurt. We should go check up on him, sirs. There's that pompous attitude of yours again. You should learn to drop that habit. This coming from a prosecutor with a habit of whipping everyone she comes across. Anyway, if you really are a prosecutor, then you'll back yourself up with evidence. You two aren't listening at all, are you? Come on, then. Show me this real murder weapon you speak of. Don't have evidence to show. I don't have any evidence to show you. Foolish reasoning for a foolish fool from a foolish fool meant to fool me. What do you mean by I don't have any evidence to show? Perhaps I should phrase it as that which caused Agent Hicks's death is incorporeal. Forgive me, but I do believe I have figured out what was the real cause of death. Freefall. The victim fell from a great height and subsequently died as a result. In other words, the real cause of death is free falling to the ground. He fell to his death? Yes, this is the only plausible possibility. The victim has extensive bruising on the back of his head and his back. And the only rational explanation for these injuries is that he fell to his death. But the murder happened inside this plane. I know. Are you claiming that there is some place in this plane from which he could have fallen from? As I said earlier, the answer has been right in front of us the entire time. You can't mean... Yes, I do. The victim fell from the top of the stairs of this very cargo hold. What? Then... We're in trouble. We may have a second death on our hands, sirs. Hey, you, tell me you aren't dead, pal.
Quiet! Why are you screaming?
He's alive. And there you have it, my Edgeworth. It's not possible that Agent Hicks fell over the railing to his death. That man is living proof of that. I suppose it's true that it's not possible, given the current circumstances. The current circumstances? What is that supposed to mean? Suppose that large piece of cargo wasn't there at the time. What would have happened then? He would have been a Borginian pancake for sure, sir. I suppose that man over there wouldn't still be breathing. But the reality is that the cargo box is there. So there's no point in entertaining your wild hypothetical scenarios. It may be there now, but there's no proof that it was always there. Ha! As if there could have been a window of time when that box was not there. Ah, but there was. That? What can I use to show her that it's possible the box was not always there or where it is now? Take that! Take that! You refilled in the Republic of Jengfa. Jengfa? Yes, this flight had a short layover in Jengfa in order to refuel. But that wasn't the only reason for the layover. We also transferred some cargo. What if the box in question was only transferred onto the plane at that time? To further prove my point, let's take a look at what's next to the box in question. Ah, it's labeled Jengfa Express. Correct. Meaning it was loaded onto the plane in Jengfa. Cargo from Jengfa data jotted down on my organizer. Now, what if the box in question was also labeled on the same loaded on the same at the same time? It would mean that the box was not here in the cargo hold during the Jengfa leg of the flight, making a clear drop from which Agent Hicks could have fallen into death. Is death entirely possible? Ah, but your theory is still very far-fetched. Then allow me a chance to prove how very likely my scenario is. My first order of business will be to examine that piece of cargo in more detail. Begin investigation. Lower deck cargo hold. This is a rather large piece of cargo. There's a tag on it, sir. Let's see. A leaf. Red statue? Never heard of it. No eye, but all I care about is if we can prove it wasn't here at the time of the crime. Then let's get investigating, sir.
Look here! Do not go back to my position without my permission.
No, don't rush up on me like that, pal. So this belongs to Mr. LeBlanc, does it? I should see what else I can find out from him. LeBlanc's cargo. I take it that this large piece of cargo belongs to you, Mr. LeBlanc.
Of course it is mine. I shipped this fine piece of art from Europe. This holy Fred statue is worth 10 million cents. No, maybe much, much more.
Mr. LeBlanc's reason for choosing this plane must have been the large cargo hold. 10 million cents? I suggest you stop trying to calculate how many packets of noodles that makes, Detective. Darn, how did you do that? I feel like you keep getting better and better at seeing right through me every year. Though I grow with each revolution of the planet around the sun, I have the distinct impression he continues to madly spin in place. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, is that 10 million cents? Is that in euros or in dollars? Does it really make a difference to our case? Mr. LeBlanc, There is a chance that your cargo is related to our murder case. I was wondering if you would allow us to examine it a bit closer.
It is a very valuable piece of art, so no, there will be no touching.
Valuable piece of art. Mr. LeBlanc claims to have brought a piece of art from Europe, but... Wait a second. Hold up, something's not right here. Smuggling ring and a valuable piece of art, perhaps? Anyone? If Mr. LeBlanc has something to do with the smuggling ring, then it's possible this fake statue was brought on board in Jungfa. I think I need to question him a bit further. Fake statue. About your statue, Mr. LeBlanc. I wonder if it might be a fake.
What? How dare you say my art is fake?
I suspect that your statue might be the target of an international smuggling.
Don't say such fantastical things. Those thieves would not dare. I would have the certification. I have the certification of my cargo right here.
Do you mean the cargo certification document? Mr. Zinc LeBlanc, why didn't you say so earlier? Please show it to us at once. I can't read this. What does it say?
It says as plain as day the cargo was put onto the plane in Europe.
And there you have it, my adventurers. Too bad for you. This statue was brought on board in Europe, just as it states in this certificate.
No, that's...
Which means that there never was even a time when just this statue wasn't sitting there. A leaf red certificate data jotted down on my organizer. I respectfully disagree. We can't discount the theory until I see the statue for myself.
Then you can have your wish. Look at it yourself and see I'm right.
This, I know I've seen this somewhere before. This is the leaf red. It gives us such a feeling of art. I can practically smell it.
This statue has a value of... this statue has a high amount of historic value. After it was unveiled at a museum in Europe, I brought it to this country to exhibit it.
A leaf red statue data jotted on my organizer. I believe a closer look is warranted here. Wait, we totally have seen this statue before. So this is the infamous leaf red statue. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Did you find something? There's something wrong with this picture. We should examine it in more detail. The eye color is what is especially wrong to me. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Wait. Look at this picture. Red eyes, yellow eyes. Eureka! These eyes are awfully orange, don't you think? Orange, I suppose. Yeah, and pretty. They remind me of sunsets when I was in grade school, sir. I don't think you see what I'm talking about. No, I do, but it's really like the color of the sun when it's setting, sir. Ah, the memories. I remember standing out in that field, spinning with my arms out, until I felt ill. I don't care about sunsets. Focus, detective. What color are the eyes in this photo? Huh? Ah! Sir, they're red. As I thought. This statue is a fake. Mr. LeBlanc.
What do you want? Do you not know I'm a busy man? I allow you 2 seconds for your answer.
The leaf red, I suppose, is your pride and joy, is it not?
It is the biggest trophy on this European trip. Do you know why I wanted to possess this statue? The trigger started 17 years ago.
Better grab a chair, sir. Sounds like this is going to be a long story. Mr. LeBlanc, I regret to inform you you have my heartfelt sympathy, but...
What is that? Sympathy? For what?
You'll see. I'd like you to compare the eyes.
That large fellow there has very bright and pretty eyes compared to you.
I wasn't talking about the eyes of the two of us. I meant the eyes of the statue in front of us and the one in this photo.
Why this sudden yelling? Now then. Oh! It is a photo of the statue on display at the museum in Europe. No!
Now do you see, Mr. LeBlanc? The statue before us is a fake.
No, fake!
I believe that even further examination will be required. Now that we have confirmed that this is indeed a fake, there must be some sort of proof that this was brought on board in Jungfa, and I will present to you evidence that will resolve the remaining contradiction. Oh, the tarp. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Eureka! There's clearly a contradiction here. What are you going on about? It's just a simple case of a cargo cover getting stuck as a piece of cargo. Ah, that's not possible. But it is. It shouldn't be this way, but the statue is on top of the cloth. Supposing that the neighboring piece of cargo was brought on board in Jungfa, there's no way that any part of it should wind up under something from Europe. Which means that this fake statue was smuggled on board in Jungfa. But then what about the cargo certificate? Let me ask in return, what about Agent Higgs? Why did he come down here in the middle of the flight? There's only one reason why. To secure proof of smuggling activity on aboard this flight. So you say, but I don't believe he had to do that mid-flight. We could have just as easily inspected all of the cargo after the plane landed. That may be true, however, you have it backwards, Franziska. Sure, Agent Higgs could have waited until after the plane had landed, but he had a reason for coming down to the cargo hold. Suppose he had found the fake at the airport, it would have been after the swap had occurred. At that time, the suspicion would naturally fall onto the statue's owner, who would have no way to prove that the statue was switched without his knowledge. Which means there is someone involved who is forging or modifying cargo certificates. A leaf red certificate data updated by organizer. Investigation complete. I guess the victim knew the real version of this was gonna get nabbed, huh? Yes, while this photo could be seen as nothing more than a simple souvenir, it was in fact taken to be used as a reference document later on. Next, Agent Higgs had to secure proof that the smuggling had taken place. He came down here to take a picture of the cargo hold. A rather empty one at that, right before the fake statue could be loaded on board. A photo of the hold missing a valuable piece of cargo would have been proof enough. After that, all he had to do was hold the Jungfa cargo crew and arrest the smuggler. Exactly. This only goes to prove my theory. If the statue was not in the cargo hold during the Europe-Jungfa leg of the trip, there would have been enough height from which Agent Higgs could have fallen to his death. Officer, move this statue immediately. I want a thorough examination of the floor underneath. Now. Miss Von Karma, I'm ready to report my findings. Go on. After moving the leaf red statue out of the way, we tested the area under it with luminol, and there was a reaction. I see. There was a reaction to luminol, an indication that there was blood in that spot. Can we stop looking at it now, sirs? It would seem that my deductions were correct after all. I suppose it would appear that way. The culprit cleaned the blood up well. And how do you think the killer did that? How did the killer clean up all the blood? Perhaps like this. Take that! The killer used the bloody cloth I found inside the suitcase to clean up the mess. I see, they had a need to clean up all the blood before the plane landed in Jungfa. Yes, because otherwise the cargo crew would have discovered it during the layover. So you guys are saying that the murder happened before the plane landed in Jungfa? There is no other conceivable timeline for the events of the murder. But if that is true, then that throws a certain person's testimony to doubt. If the murder occurred before we landed in Jungfa, then this becomes highly suspect. Wait, Miss Melee's testimony said that he was sitting when they landed. Miss Melee's testimony. Recall Miss Melee's testimony about Agent Hicks in regard to when we departed Jungfa, after we left. I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. She claims Agent Hicks was alive at the time of these service calls, but that totally contradicts the facts, sir. But why would she lie about something like that? I think the only person who can answer that is Miss Melee herself. To be continued. Are you enjoying this so far? Save? Yes, let's save. March 12th, 3:34. March 12th, 3:35 p.m. Flight I-390, lower deck cargo hold. Miss Melee. Miss Melee. Do you recall what you said earlier? That's good. About when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Jungfa. You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible, because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Jungfa. Miss Cammy Melee! Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did. No one can make a mistake so large, Miss Melee. But I think that kind of boo-boo... But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time. This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well. Miss Melee, if you please, tell me about your alibi during the time span. From just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found. Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? Testimony, Miss Melee's alibi. Yeah. From 3 to 4 I was in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. And from 5 to 6 I was in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. How is a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? Miss Melee, wake up! She fell asleep again. It looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her. Rebuttal, Miss Melee's alibi. From 3 to 4 I was in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Hold it! If I remember correctly, food was being served in first class in the lounge between the hours of 3 and 4 a.m. Yeah, but that kind of stuff's run by Miss Rhoda. Then what were you doing in the attendance room at that time? Eating and then having a most delicious drink. You mean you were neglecting your duties? No way, sleeping's a part of our job too, you know. And from 5 to 6 I was in the flight attendant's room all by my lonesome self. Hold it! So you were alone the entire time, were you? Yeah, no one else even popped their head in to say hi. Oh, well I think a contradiction just popped in to say hi. What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Raise an objection. Miss Melee, there's a clear contradiction embedded in your testimony. What are you talking about? It's not possible that you were alone in the attendance room the whole time from 5 to 6 a.m. Because didn't Miss Rhoda De Niro have a, I don't know, a receipt or something? Like, that she, purchased that, suitcase at 5:40 a.m.? Take that! Take that! I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Melee. A receipt for what? It's for the suitcase Miss De Niro bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. As you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m. Miss De Niro! Yes? Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now. I request that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss De Niro, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to the first floor in-flight shop, correct? Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase, after which I went straight to the attendance room to drop it off. And did you see Miss Melee there at the time? No. So, Miss Melee, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy Melee! The bathroom. I'll be the one to ask the questions here. Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know. Do you take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true. But it's the truth. Cross my heart. I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter on you at this stage. You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out? Testimony, reason for suspicion. Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew. But I think that you think then maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda, too. She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know? And if you ask me, that makes her super suspicious. Please leave Miss De Niro out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now. I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you've got your eye on Miss Rhoda. Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I? Never mind, but you wanna know something? Miss Rhoda actually kinda I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now's not the time for this sort of talk. Rebuttal reason for suspicion. Look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew. Hold it! No, it's not the only reason I have for suspecting you. Your statements regarding Mr. Hicks also turned out to be a bunch of lies. Came back, sorry, I had to say goodbye to my brother. Ah, but say I wasn't an attendant. You wouldn't suspect me then, would you? Yes, I suppose that's true enough. That you think then maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda, too. Hold it! She's already being detained for further questioning, or have you already forgotten? Oh, yeah, I guess I just forgot. Cammy, don't tell me you suspect me too. Sorry, can't help it. I mean, other than you, there's no one else who could have done it. I can't believe you would think that. I mean, me, a killer? Miss Melee, what did you mean just now by no one else could have done it? She's the one in charge of the elevator key card and the shop, you know. Hold it! And what are you in charge of, Miss Melee? I take care of the attendance room. That doesn't count! But I spend so much time in there, it might as well be my responsibility. Mr. Edgeworth, Cammy is very talented in languages, so she assists passengers who may not speak English. So she assists passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Borginian. She is the only one on this flight who is fluent. Oh, you mean that kind of what am I in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place?
What else could I have meant?
Yeah, so I'm really good at Borginian.
She's fluent in Borginian? Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borginian.
Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borginian.
Very interesting.
If you ask me, that makes her super suspicious.
Hold it! Actually, your on-the-job behavior makes you super suspicious in my eyes.
Huh? But why?
While Miss Tenero's busy with the passengers and all of her other duties, you have a lot of free time on your hands, thus providing you with ample time to commit the crime.
Objection! Miles, at first, I demand that you cease and desist in this line of conjectural questioning. I won't allow you to bluff your way through this like a certain defense lawyer.
But I do not honestly believe Miss Melee has or does any actual work aboard this flight.
Oh, that's not true, Mr. Edgeworth, although, well... all I'm in charge of are the attendance room and some Borginians.
Oh, some Borginian stuff, huh? Like this leaf red certificate, for instance. Objection! So, you are the only one in this flight crew that speaks Borginian. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Borginia for a while.
If that is the case, then the signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it?
This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose. To lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Port Gideon is you, Miss Melee. Without your participation, the smuggling ring of the Elif Red could not have occurred. Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you! Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, Shido. It is exactly as you say. Are you confessing to having participated in the smuggling ring? No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off on that document. But you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There's no direct correlation after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper. Really? All you did was sign it? I neglected to check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So, sorry about that. It seems that she's finally woken up. This is going to be one tough fight. Suppose, and this is just a supposition, even if I was involved in the smuggling ring, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that. Objection! If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring. And just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever think to stop to think that maybe Rhoda is the smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes. So perhaps there is some element of a setup at play in this case. What are you talking about? Don't, Roy, I wasn't talking about you, I meant the killer. First it was myself, and now it's Mr. Nero who is under the microscope. Seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can. You have no proof that Rhoda's being set up or that she isn't. Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all of the blame for the crime onto her. And this evidence will prove my suspicions. This proves that the killer was out to frame Mr. Nero from the very beginning. Well, the killer used her suitcase to transport it. Take that! The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body up from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Mr. Nero for the murder. Mr. Nero buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with the one containing the victim's body? That would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There there wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whoever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop, and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. What special circumstances dictated the need for the killer to frame someone? Where the murder took place? The special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chance that the body would be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Mr. Nero or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of the criminal's movements is not Mr. Nero or myself. But you, Miss Cammy Melee. Only you, and you alone, could be the killer. Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. I can see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that I still can't quite fit into the big picture? There we go, the phone. Take that! I don't have any actual evidence. I thought none. But that's because it went missing, and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece that I kept getting stuck on. And that is the victim's cell phone. Franziska, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks's cell phone. Or at least that's what you told me. That's right. But Agent Hicks's cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean the killer took the phone with him? The phone with him? Precisely. I suspect that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer. Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? We won't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Franziska, I'd like to ask for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Of course I do. Agent Hicks's phone, it's ringing from somewhere, sir. I hear it, Detective. Now, where's it coming from? Where is it? Oh, it's up here? Oh, it's totally up here. March 12th, 4:12 p.m., flight I-390, first floor attendance room. They're bringing something from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. It doesn't seem to be over here. Then let's look somewhere else, sir. They're ringing something from in here, sir. What? No, it can't be. This has got to be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is it, sir? It's Miss Nero's. What? March 12th, 4:28 p.m. Flight I-390, lower deck, cargo hold. So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where did you find the phone? I found it in the flight attendant's room in Miss Nero's locker. What? But... God, it's Nero. I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Miss Von Karma, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Nero right away. Objection! Wait, I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the keycard. When the killer went to steal the keycard, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Miss Nero's locker at the same time. Objection! This is related to the keycard, alright? In the same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that. Just that. The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one bird we cannot ignore. What should I do? Francisco's right. I can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then, why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? It must have something very incriminating on, or in it. Hold it! What now, Miles Edgeworth? It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took the phone. What? Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to the killer, to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. The LCD is broken. Without a screen, you can't even place a call with this. This must be the switch that opens the phone. When did they start putting keyboards like these into cell phones? Hey, this is one of those computer cell phones that they started selling recently. Computer cell phones? Yeah, it's got a computer in it, and it's a cell phone. Neat, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? All you need all you need in a phone is the phone part, nothing more. I'm guessing yours can't even send out email. Talk about inconvenient. Do you have a problem with what I do? Do you have a problem with what I do and do not care for, detective? No, sir. As they say, simple's best. Ah, it's a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of smuggling? Francisca, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures? Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know about this kind of basic stuff, sir. This looks like a very similar matter to my own. And mine can take photos just fine. Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case? Well, that's odd. Why did the confrontation press? Usually they don't play the confrontation press thing unless it's a test one. If so, I'd say there may be some very incriminating photos in here for our killer smuggler. But the phone's all busted up, sir. Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. I'll find a way, don't you worry about that. May I go back to sleep now? Objection! The LCD screens on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. For sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase his data. What? What do you mean by that, Francisca? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. This phone's still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screens are broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside, waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Francisca, your phone, if you please. Very well. It's transferring. Alright, displaying it now. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for his smuggling case. Hey, the leaf red's nowhere in this pic, sir. But this has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right? Oh, she's right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks's killer, sir. Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo that we can use? Let's scan. Bed sheets. Let's look at this box. Boxes of bed sheets. These are still in the cargo hold. There's nothing unusual about them in particular, but I can't shake the feeling. If you're just playing around, mind if I go home? Yes, I might. I need to focus on what's different from back then. Well, the missing box here, right? What's all this?
Oh, they're a cargo ship from Guinea to Jungfa.
So the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Jungfa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me about the contents of the boxes? Oh yeah, those boxes. Okay. Yeah, those boxes. Unfortunately, there's no English written on them anywhere.
One cluster of boxes is written in Borginian. It says Chula. It is cloth in English.
Cloth? Could it be? Is this where the killer?
What? What for is that scary face?
Miss Melee? Yes? It appears that Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence after all.
A striking piece that will point out who his killer is.
Ha! Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture, Mr. Edgeworth. The Bulgarian cargo in this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. This Bulgarian cloth. Take that! And what is that supposed to prove? The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood they had spilled. But there was one thing that bothered me this whole time. Where did it come from? And now I have finally found my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Jungfa had cloth written on it. In Bulgarian, that is. And this is where the killer grabbed a piece from to clean up the blood with. That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Bulgarian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Cammy Melee. Hold it! Ha! That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Bulgarian. Objection! Sorry, but I cannot agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Bulgarian, well then... logically, the killer would have opened this box first. Perhaps the bedsheets box? Take that! Take that! Hey, it says bedsheets in English right on the box, sir. Precisely, and bedsheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, wouldn't you say? Halt it! So what are you trying to say? That if I were the criminal, this box of bedsheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer chose to use some Bulgarian class. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know that the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold, so they were afraid to leave signs in the box before the sheets had been opened. However, the Bulgarian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color. Because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Jungfa? That's right. That is why the Borginian cloth was used, and the only Borginian reader on board who could make such a calculated decision is you, Cammy Melee. You and you alone. It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we would have to do is contact the Jungfa authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. So what do you say, Miss Melee? Why not confess to your crime here and now? Or would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Jungfa? No, 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 no! No, 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 no. He was Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. I was scared. I was in trouble. March 12th, 5:26 p.m. Flight I-390, first floor, lounge. We finished making all the arrangements to detect the suspect in, sir. Very good, detective. What about the smuggling route? Did she say anything about that? They're taking her down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we've approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir. She probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. One thing is for sure, the ring behind this whole mess means serious business. It looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. Mr. Edgeworth, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much. It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation. But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation. That's... I see. I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want it. No, I mean, I would never turn down a lady's generous offer. Well, thank you. I'm sure it will serve you well. And remember, we here at iFly Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth. Thank you, I'll keep that in mind. Now I must bid you farewell. May all your skies be blue, no matter where you go. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir, but boy was it fun. Speak for yourself, but my day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. By the way, where's Franziska? Oh, she's filling out some customs paperwork for her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma's always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some leads regarding her case. Detective, can you cancel the car I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir. March 12th, 5:47 p.m., Hope Springs Airport. Franziska. I thought I told you when you first landed. I have no time for idle chatter. I have no intention of wasting your time, however, it has been a while since we last met. I also have no time for such familiar reminiscences. Just who do you think I am? You are Franziska von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect. Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing pirate, living her life on the name and fame her invincible father built. True, your father Montfort Karma didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible. What are you talking about? The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture. Sounds like a dangerous assignment. You really don't have to worry, I can take care of myself. Yes, I suppose you can. Plus, there is another agent on this case with me. Oh, another agent? He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows, you may even run into him one day. I was simply caught up in this one case. I hardly see why we would cross paths. I suppose, but I doubt he would say the same. I'm not following you. You'll understand soon enough. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough. And when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back in full. And just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness I can finally rest easy knowing I won't have to watch out for her web. Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation. It was nothing, sir. I was just happy to be able to work with you again. I think I'm going to celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight. Just how much did you cut his salary by, Francisco? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office. Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want. Sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want. Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Thus I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Franziska von Karma, the smuggling route she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put their trump card into play, and the players on the other side of this war, they would begin to make themselves known through the next incident. Edgeworth speaking.
Ah, finally. I called who knows how many times earlier, but I couldn't get through.
And you are?
Ah, have you forgotten my voice, Miles, my boy?
Mr. Amano? Ernest Amano, correct?
Ah, so you do remember me. I know it's rather sudden, but I can't ask this of anyone else. There's been an incident, Miles. My son, he's been kidnapped.
The end. Okay, we'll go a little bit longer. We'll go into the third episode, okay? We'll just do the beat. A brand new episode has been added. The Kidnapped Turnabout. Save? Yes, we shall save. You still there, Portland? So we've got episode 1, the Turnabout Visitor, episode 2, Turnabout Airlines, and now we've got episode 3, the Kidnapped Turnabout. Okay, good. Okay, let's go. Episode 3, the Kidnapped Turnabout. March 13th, 10:11 a.m. We don't know where it is. It's time. Don't worry, Mr. Edgeworth. I'll be following your every movement with my binoculars. Good to hear. Now make sure you don't lose sight of me. I'm counting on you for backup. You can count on me, sir. I have to go. The kidnapper is supposed to contact me soon. Who would have thought that upon my return I'd be thrust into a kidnapping case? And that I would be the one who would have to make the ransom drop-off. Let's see, I checked that the money is all there, safe inside the suitcase. Now all I have to do is await further instructions from the kidnapper. Would which I'm expected to be transferred to my cell phone. I wonder who else is around. This is the meeting place, after all. Welcome to Gatewaterland! Oh, thank you. Creepy. And a big hello to you! I'm the Proto-Badger. Nice to meet you! Excuse me, but were you perhaps thinking of taking a picture of me? A picture of you? Sorry, but I'm not interested. Oh, that's too bad. Well, have a good day. Hello? Who are you? You're not Ernest Amano. It sounds like the kidnapper's using some sort of voice alteration device. I'm his representative, Miles Edgeworth. Are you a cop? No, I'm a prosecutor. I know what you're wondering, and yes, I have brought the ransom money with me. I see. In that case, bring the money with you to the stadium. So this person intends to see if I'm being followed. Huh. Please, Detective Gumshoe, I really need you to come through for me this one time. Edgeworth speaking. Next, come to the haunted house. And just how long do you intend to have me wander around for? That's for me to decide. You don't have much of a choice here, my friend. I suppose not. No, I suppose not. I've arrived. Go inside. Oh, Creepfest. What a dismal place. That's it. Go through those doors. Am I being watched from somewhere? Leave the money and go, now. I was hoping for an exchange, but maybe I should do as they say for now and not push it. I couldn't catch even a glimpse of the kidnapper. Perhaps I should keep an eye on this haunted house until police backup arrives. It was a trap. March 13th, 11:23 a.m. We don't know where it is. That guy betrayed. No, can't be. Then the deal. Who is that? And what are they talking about? Split, please. Alright. In front of meetup. I can't move my body. I fear I may faint again. Okay, this is probably a good place to stop, even though it's kind of a cliffhanger, but, we're gonna save state here, and then we'll take it up next time. Probably either tomorrow or the next day, alright? Sound good, Portland? Alright, thanks Portland for tuning in and everything. I'm sorry this wasn't as long of a one, but that was mainly just to wrap up the second episode, so thanks for watching again, I really appreciate it, and good night.